Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Okie dokie. This is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I am here with the beautiful Joel.
Wow. Beautiful. I like that.
Today, we are here to continue our series of the classics in horror. We've already done The Exorcist. Mm-hmm. So now we're doing 1960s Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Oh, yes. Man. The original slasher.
Not the remake.
Well, yeah, in the original movie.
Yeah.
All right, so Joel, can you tell us a little bit about this one? Who's in it?
All right, so this one stars Anthony Perkins as the Norman Bates. He was in Psychos 2 through 4. There have been 4 of these movies.
Yep.
Actual, 5 including the remake. But he was also in Murder on the Orient Express, the original.
Oh, okay.
Catch-22.
That's a book.
That is a book. Mm-hmm. It's also a movie from the 70s. And he was in Les Miserables, 1978 version.
Okay.
It also stars Janet Leigh.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Little Women, the 1949 version, which in 1949 was the third version of that story that they just keep on remaking. She was in the original Angels in the Outfield, 1951.
Nice. Oh, wait. There's an original Angels in the Outfield?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
1951.
I didn't know that.
The original Manchurian Candidate, 1962. The Fog. There's actually a remake of that, so the original The Fog, too. And Halloween H2O.
That's right. Isn't she Jamie Lee Curtis's mom?
In real life.
In real life.
Yeah. It also stars John Gavin, who's Janet Leigh's love interest in the movie. He was in Spartacus.
Okay.
So his acting kind of ended in like the early 80s. So all these movies I've never really heard of. I've heard of Spartacus.
Yeah.
But he was also in Romanoff and Juliet.
What? What is that?
Romanoff and Juliet.
All right.
Yeah. And he was in a Western called Raw Edge, which was actually his first movie he was ever in like 56.
Okay.
This was written, it had a couple of writers. This was written by Joseph Stefano. He wrote Psycho 4, the Psycho remake, and a movie in 1972 called Home for the Holidays.
They've always got these horror writers doing a random Christmas movie.
I know. These like family, like holiday movies that they're doing. And Robert Bloch, he's a novelist. He's the one that wrote the book, the novel. And he wrote The House That Dripped Blood.
Oh, well, scary.
Yeah, The Couch. And The Psychopath. And this was directed by this up-and-comer, Alfred Hitchcock. And he directed Rope, North by Northwest and Dial M for Murder, which are my 3 favorites of Alfred Hitchcock's.
Oh, all right.
Even before Psycho.
You like those more than Psycho?
I do.
Oh, wow.
And this is, a classic, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to have to check those out because I don't think I've seen those.
They're good. All 3 of them are really good.
Okay.
So you should. Everybody listening should watch those if they haven't already.
Nice. All right. So the plot here is a Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from her employer's client, goes on the run, and checks into a remote motel run by a young man under the domination of his mother.
To be fair, that's at least $400,000 today.
That's what. How much was it in the remake? Do you know? Is it the same amount?
I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've watched that one.
That was in the 90s.
I'm sure, yeah, like 98. I'm sure it had to be more than... I mean, $40,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I would assume that it was probably more in the remake than that.
Because didn't she work... What did she work? Like a bank? Or like a loan agency or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Anyways. Okay, so this is a classic.
It is a classic.
It's not Joel's favorite Alfred Hitchcock.
It's not. He is honestly one of my favorite directors.
All right. We're going to have to do like a Hitchcock series.
I would be okay with that.
Because I don't really know too many Hitchcock movies. The Birds.
Yeah.
It's a Hitchcock movie, right?
Lower tier Hitchcock, in my opinion. Although people do think of it as a classic. But it's, to me, I mean, it is most of his movies are pretty much classics, but that was definitely, that's bottom half of his movies.
All right. Cool.
He's done so many more, he's done so many way better movies than that, so.
Okay. All right, so, there's not much, I think a lot of people know what this movie is about. So let's kind of just get into what we liked. What were your positives for this one?
I love this movie.
Okay.
I really do.
It's not your favorite.
It's not my favorite Hitchcock movie, but I still do love it. Okay. There is a reason Hitchcock is one of my favorite directors. He is the master of suspense.
Okay. The master.
Master, yeah. That's actually something people have been calling him for a while. And I
didn't just make that up.
I agree. I wish I had just made that up. But no, yeah, he definitely is. He is one of, if not the original, director of suspense like this.
Yeah.
Which is why he's the master, I guess.
Okay.
I guess he is the first. There's just so much about this movie that I thoroughly enjoy. Okay. I like the there were some moments that were kind of like slow paced.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah.
Which in a lot of movies in like the 60s and even the 70s had those moments of build up.
Yeah.
Those slow paced moments.
Yeah, I feel
actually
like this
build up to something.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this one kind of had like a short build up and then like a boom piece. Mm-hmm. And then like the middle was like a lot of build up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get toward the end and then there's more.
Yeah.
Like suspense and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was kind of it was different in that way. Mm-hmm. You know, what everybody knows of this movie is for that shower scene.
Yeah.
And that's what, 15 minutes into the movie or something? Like
it's maybe even
sooner than that.
I would even say longer than that.
Oh,
because there's more. I mean, you have to be introduced to the characters beforehand.
Yeah.
She has to go. She has to steal the money, buy a car, go there. They have a conversation for a while. Yeah. So I would say even like maybe a half hour into the movie.
Okay, but it's still like earlier because you think that she's going to be the final.
Yeah.
Character. You know? You think she's...
The whole movie's going to be about her.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not. So, yeah, it's just kind of different in that way, which is not a bad thing. But,
no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that shower scene's iconic.
Right. Yeah.
And, yeah. So yeah, the build-up for me, for a lot of these 60s and, 70s movies, there is this like we were saying, the slow pacing moments that actually have something that they're building up toward.
Right.
And I love that. I really wish we could bring that back in today's horror movies, but it's all about either shock value or jump scares, and that's it. There's no slow moments of build up really for movies these days. I just don't think people have the attention span like they used to a lot of the times. So there were a couple of build up moments, and the shocking reveal at the end, which obviously everyone knows about at this point. Even if you haven't seen it, you've heard that Norman Bates is a little psycho. And that reveal, I'm sure seeing this for the first time in like 1960, that reveal that he is his mother was a mind-blowing scene.
Well, and that wasn't in film back then, dissociative disorder was not like a thing necessarily, especially not on film, or in Hollywood. So that was probably like, whoa, what are we watching here? This can't be real, But that twist, pretty good. Pretty good. And today's standards wouldn't be too surprising.
Well, no, but it's because I think of this movie itself that it's not surprising today.
It opened those doors.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And a fun fact about Alfred Hitchcock is he throws himself in every movie he's in.
Oh, at one point. Who was he in this movie?
He was when she is hearing the mother, quote unquote mother, talking.
Yeah.
Which that whole scene right there is like she's screaming, but it sounds like she's actually just talking to her son. But the house is like 100 yards away. It's like, what? She's hearing this perfect, like...
like, okay. It's like she's talking with a microphone or something. Because she's not screaming.
Yeah,
but it's like a normal...
It's like talking.
Voice. Yeah, it's weird.
It's like, okay.
That's old filming. Old audio.
Oh, man. But when she looks out, I think before there's like someone in the window that she sees, and that's Alfred Hitchcock.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice little fun fact.
Yeah.
Good
Just
job.
like M. Night does that in all of his movies because his inspiration for his movies was Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
So that's why he threw him. I mean,
I could see that.
He gave himself like actual talking moments, but like a whole acting moment. But yeah.
And I could see M. Night like he's kind of trying to imitate what Hitchcock does. With his slow builds and kind of that atmosphere and suspense. He doesn't always pull it off. But I can see that correlation.
He used to be able to a lot better than he does these days. But
okay. So anything else you want to
so the theme, the music in it is very iconic amazing. But at the same time, as iconic and amazing as it is, there's also moments where there's complete silence, which I also love.
Yep.
Those are those build-up moments when nobody's talking, nothing's going on.
Right.
There's nothing, there's no sound at all. And I love that. That helps with the suspense for these movies. And I love that. And the acting was really good in this movie as well.
Yeah.
I love the scene where they're talking. It actually sounds like they're having a real conversation.
Him and his mom?
No.
Oh. Well, they do that too.
No, yeah, they do.
It does sound like they're having a conversation.
It does.
It's only one person, though. Okay.
But, no, but, what's her name?
When she first gets there?
Yeah, when she gets there.
Yeah.
Having dinner with them and stuff like that.
Was he going to make bread and milk, or what was his sandwiches and milk or something?
Yeah, something like that.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
Dinner with me?
He's a weird guy.
Can I have dinner? Sure. Have sandwiches and milk.
But it just that the whole conversation itself just
Yeah.
it just flowed really well.
Yeah.
It actually sounded like an actual conversation and not some scripted
Yeah.
thing. It's just like I've seen movies from like the 50s and stuff, and it sounds like they're really trying to act. And they're trying to like carry their voice in a way that a normal person would not sound like.
Right.
But
that
wasn't really the case in this movie.
Yeah, they definitely do a better job. And we have another episode that we're going to do with Rosemary's Baby. And then this one, it's a 60s, 50s.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about an old film with the dialogue that it's an old film? Can you put your finger on what that is? Because to me, the audio is obviously old sounding.
Yeah.
So the audio quality,
even like a remastered version,
is
still.
Yeah. Even with The Exorcist, same thing. You could tell it was old from the quality.
Yeah.
And then, but some of the dialogue back and forth, to me, it doesn't seem like bad acting. It's more so like you're watching a play.
Yeah, it can have that feeling for sure.
But I can't put my finger on it. Like what?
It
is.
I think more than the acting itself, it's the style of writing.
Okay.
It's just there's something about the way that they were writing their movies that they don't write like that anymore. I don't want to say like old English style of writing because that's not true. It's not like a Shakespearean play or something.
I feel like there's a lot that is said in every scene. They're not short scenes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like still camera.
Yeah.
Like you're just kind of fly on a wall watching what's happening in front of you.
Watching like actual conversations with these people. Yeah.
Not just like a zoom in on somebody and the camera flips to the next person and kind of go back and forth dialogue, and the camera's not constantly moving, there's not music. It's just kind of, that's what makes it feel like a play, I guess, to me, is when you're watching a play, you're just watching what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And then same with these types of movies, the older style. But yeah, it's, as a kid, you're like, oh, it's black and white, and and then even now, I'm like, it's really old, and I can tell it's old, and it's just something about it, and I think we're kind of on the same page. It's hard for me not to get a little bored watching an old film. Now, if it's a good one, then fine, I can not be bored, but when there's long parts and there's a lot of back and forth dialogue, then it can get kind of hard to stay invested. But I don't know if that's a negative. It's just something I've noticed about watching these older movies, and I'm like, what is it that makes it seem old?
You probably wouldn't like Rope then.
Rope?
Yeah, that's the one that I mentioned of Hitchcock. It's probably my favorite of all of his movies. It's just there is a lot of dialogue. It's like Quentin Tarantino in that sense. Okay. But it's it's the moments that add the suspense. Like, are they going to get caught? Like, what's going on? What's going to happen here? Yeah. But there is a lot of dialogue involved in that movie, especially.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's like the audio quality and then the amount of dialogue. That is, because Quentin Tarantino, like if you put a worse sounding quality to his movies, they would seem really old. I feel like they would, because of the dialogue, like so much dialogue and so much back and forth. Okay.
That's anyways, probably, dialogue is probably a big reason for those types of but that's what makes movies like this so like real, so grounded in reality. Is the dialogue, and also the fact that during those moments there's no sound. Right. There's we don't have music playing in the background of our lives every day. So
there's no sound, and like I was saying, there's no like constant camera movement and stuff. Or not movement, but just switches, I guess, from camera to camera. So all that kind of combined is what I think it gives me that feeling.
Yeah.
They just don't do movies like that anymore.
No, they don't. I wouldn't mind if they did.
Yeah, I mean, even the
like,
remake.
Bring a couple of them back, at least. Like,
Yeah.
bring that back for a couple movies, at least, here and there. Just to see how people react to them.
Right. But yeah, even the remake, it was 98, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And that felt like an old movie.
Yeah.
And
well,
it wasn't.
that was like, that was straight from the original.
Right.
Like, nothing was different
Right.
from that movie.
Yeah, they went
so they
shot for shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Same
pretty
script
much.
and everything.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's not just the quality of the audio.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of that kind of combined.
Yeah.
Because even that one felt old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm. It did.
Yeah. Okay. Any more positives?
So, I think I pretty much covered everything that, the ending was amazing as well. Like, not just the reveal that his mother's dead, but that last scene in the movie
Mm-hmm.
with him in, like, the psych ward, I want to say.
Right.
Where he's, like, talking about to himself, like, as the mother, I guess.
Yeah.
Norman Bates is gone at this point,
Yeah.
and it's just the mother that remains.
Yeah.
And there's, like, a fly flying around and, like, lands on him, and
Yeah.
she's like, they'll see. I wouldn't even harm a fly, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, trying to, like, get out, but obviously
Yeah.
knowing what you're doing, like, obviously you're crazy, but
Right.
at the same time, you're very coherent
Right.
as well.
Right.
So that whole movie it's amazing.
All right. Okay, so yeah, for me, the music probably number one positive. I really like when there's a good score. Even the credits was really cool. The way that the credits looked and the music to go with that was cool.
So, real quick, when she's driving away after she's stolen the $40,000,
that is so intense.
Yeah, that whole scene was really intense. I love the music in that scene and everything. But do you think that what she was thinking in her head was actually going on, or that's what she was thinking was gonna happen?
I think that's what. Yeah, that's. I'm thinking when I first watched it, I'm like, okay, that's what she's worried about. That's what she's thinking is happening. She's kind of like what anybody would do. You're going through all the scenarios in your head, like, okay, how could I get caught? How could this go wrong?
Yeah.
And so I think that's just kind of her mind racing, and and then with the music, then it's like,
it adds.
I think it's really putting you in her head.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it could go either way. It could be what's actually going on at that moment. I don't know why she would be thinking that, but or that's what's going to happen come Monday morning when find out that she's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's a scenario running through her head, which is probably most likely what's going on. But I mean, that whole thing could have been for our benefit, not from what she's thinking.
Right.
I think it's up for interpretation.
Yeah.
But I would think that it's most likely what she's thinking at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even that build up, even before she meets Norman, is suspenseful. Her trying to get away with this money and trying not to get caught, getting this car and all that, and then she meets Norman, and then maybe it gives her like this sense of security because he's like a nice guy, and it's in the middle of nowhere, really, this motel. So she's like, I'm cool.
Yeah, no one's gonna find me here.
Yeah, nothing bad's gonna happen now. I made it out. I'm good to go. And then she gets killed in the shower.
Yeah.
So I did like that first piece of the movie a lot. Then it was a little slow, but then it picked up again once we got into the psychology more so of Norman.
If she had just decided to go to bed and not have dinner with him, do you think she'd still be alive? Because that was the whole thing. Like, he went to the house to invite her over to dinner and was like making sandwiches and stuff. And that's when the mom was like, I don't want her over here.
Yeah, he had to go in there to turn the switch on.
Snap out of it. So I'm like, if she had just been like really tired and just gone to bed, I wonder if she still would have been alive the next day.
Yeah.
Or if it was like that whole the mom not wanting some strange woman to have dinner with her son.
Yeah.
Kind of thing that made him snap into her.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, so if she never would have agreed to that, he wouldn't have gone there to set up this sandwich
dinner.
And milk thing.
Yeah.
Then he would have never talked to his mom, and so then it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. That's funny to think about it that way, like because his mom's not actually there.
Yeah,
so.
I know. Yeah.
Oh man, that's sad. At the same time, like poor guy.
I know.
Okay,
Well,
so
he lived to kill for another 3 movies. So after this, so
yeah, have you seen the other ones?
I've seen Psycho 2 years ago.
Yeah, I watched Psycho 2 about a year ago. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one. You feel bad for him in that one. He was trying to be a good guy.
Okay. But Mother didn't.
No, it's other people. Other people are
really?
messing with him and trying to get him back into prison.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's messed
and
up.
then
Mother comes.
Mother just can't let her son go back.
What if Norman Bates is Jason Voorhees?
Whoa. They kind of have a similar backstory.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. Well, we're getting off track. So,
Still talking about
Norman, love Norman.
Yeah.
Anthony Perkins, his acting was awesome. So good as like the innocent, nice guy, but kind of weird at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of charismatic, but creepy. I don't know if I would think that if I didn't already know he was a psycho going in. If I would be put off by anything he said. I mean, the whole sandwiches and milk thing. I don't know. That's just weird. Maybe that's just how it was back then. I don't know.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with sandwiches and milk.
Like,
it's a good lunch.
let me get some peanut butter and jelly and some chocolate milk.
When you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no restaurants around town.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I really thought his acting was great. The character of Norman Bates is awesome. When he's Mother and his voice changes and stuff, like that is so cool. I love that. I wonder if he actually did that.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't like Anthony
He could
Perkins.
be a voice actor. He could do voiceover work.
That would be pretty impressive.
It would be. Yeah.
If that was actually his voice.
Yeah.
Because we never see him talk like her.
No, yeah, we
We
don't.
don't actually see him mouth it or anything. So.
Yeah.
And then the camera work. Some of the camera work is really cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. There's like the scene with the stairs where the guy's like falling down the stairs.
Yeah.
And the camera, like, you're kind of like his point of view, right? And the camera's like kind of going down.
Yeah.
It looked cool, but at the same time, it looked kind of cheesy.
Yeah. It did.
So it's like, getting creative. You give him some props for that, but
don't want to have to actually push him down the stairs. That's his stuntman was out for the day.
So we'll just flip the camera like it's going down the stairs.
Here, you hang on to this and
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of cool, but kind of cheesy.
it was. I did like that whole sequence, but it can definitely be considered as cheesy as well. So
and this movie just opened up doors for horror. Got to give it credit for that. I don't know if there was no Psycho, what would happen, because we started seeing more horror come out after. Rosemary's Baby is 68.
Yeah.
We had, Exorcist in the mid-70s. We had Halloween, late 70s. Some of these well-known movies, I wonder if they would have gotten the green light to be widely available if Psycho wasn't made. Or Psycho wasn't successful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, what would have happened with those types of movies if it just like bombed?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know how well it did when it was in theaters. I mean, it could have was gonna say it could have done better. I don't think they didn't have any other way really of watching it besides the theater though. Like, there were no VHS tapes back then.
Yeah.
In the 60s. So I guess everyone really had to go to the theater back then.
Right.
To watch a movie.
Yeah.
So must have been nice to I mean, as like a producer or something, to know that people have to go see your movie.
Right.
Like, they actually have to pay the money to go see it.
Yeah.
As opposed to today's movies.
Yeah, I wonder how well it did.
Yeah.
But Hitchcock, I mean, he's, I don't know his whole history and background and everything, but I would assume he was probably a pretty big director in his day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if he's doing this movie, I'm sure it got a lot of money backing it and, did well. So.
Yeah, this wasn't like his first movie ever. So he definitely had some success in previous movies. I think a couple of the movies that I mentioned were before Psycho.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
So yeah, I mean, the point is this opened a lot of doors for the horror genre, which is, got to give it credit for that. Okay, so what did you despise about this movie?
I absolutely hated this movie. I don't really think that there's much that I didn't like about it. Like, maybe what you were saying, as cool of a scene as it was, the whole camera work for when he fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
You could consider that as pretty cheesy. Other than that, though, like, I don't really know. From beginning to end, it was, it keeps you on your toes, and
yeah.
Yeah, there's really not a whole lot. Like I was saying, even the moments of, like, that it was slow was building up to something. So that not even that was, like, boring at all. It was just, it was slow because it was building.
Yeah. People call that a slow burn these days.
That's if the whole movie was like that.
Okay.
Yeah, not scenes here and there, but that's, if the whole movie was really slow from the beginning toward the end.
Okay,
that's a slow burn.
That's a good point.
Still not a bad thing necessarily, but yeah, I wouldn't consider this one that though.
Okay, yeah,
but yeah, I mean, other than that, I really can't think of anything that I really dislike about this movie.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it's a 60-year-old movie. So
yeah,
I think it's held pretty strong over the years. Besides the fact that it's black and white and it sounds old, that's like the aging of the movie.
Yeah.
It's obviously aged very well for a 60-year-old movie.
Yeah.
But I will say that it's not something I'm going to rewatch too often. Especially because it has that twist, which is really, really good. And once you've seen it, you kind of know. And it doesn't have the same value.
Yeah.
After you already know the twist. And I, knew it before watching it. I actually saw the remake before I saw the original.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. And I didn't grow up with this movie. I didn't see it until I was an adult. And so I'd just say the rewatchability isn't the greatest. Probably back then, and I probably would have wanted to rewatch it a lot. But being that it is a very old movie, it kind of loses that rewatchability. And then, just some of those pieces where it's like, you can tell it's an old movie. And it's nothing against the movie, because it is an old movie.
Yeah, it is.
Not anything bad necessarily.
Can't fault it on.
Yeah, it's not like anything they did wrong with writing or anything like that. It's just it is what it is. So for me, for my taste, I'm not going to watch it very often. That's really the only negative I can say.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some slow parts, but that's part of the movie. So I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing, and I think it's necessary. So just the fact that it's old, and you can tell, It's really the only negative I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rewatchability factor.
Yeah, which is why it's not rewatchable to me, because it is so old.
So that's if it didn't feel like it was that old, then rewatchability would be higher. Probably. I thought it was mostly like the twists at the end.
Well, there's that too, which once you know it, then it's not as exciting. But
yeah. So
there's that. But then the fact that it is old, it has those characteristics of an old film, which is just not my thing. Like, I'm not gonna watch something like that often, because I just like the newer style, I guess, more. The way it looks, the way it sounds, like all that stuff.
We just lost our older audience.
All that stuff is what I'm going to like more so. Not to say that this had anything wrong with it, but it's just not something I'm going to watch a bunch.
Yeah.
So, the only really old film that I'll watch, Halloween. And I mean, that's 78,
like
so
almost 20 years younger than this movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's about as far back as I'll go, probably, is what I mean. To rewatch often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
78. It's
78.
77?
Not a year earlier than that.
All right, so let's grade this masterpiece.
All right.
What do you think?
So,
you've already given 100.
Well, that was for a show.
You can have more than 100, I guess.
I haven't given 100 to a movie yet.
Yeah.
But I also did put 3 other Hitchcock movies ahead of this one.
That's true.
So I can't give that one.
Are those horror movies?
They're suspense.
Okay. Can't do them if they're not horror.
I mean, it's Hitchcock. It's, it's by default, it's horror.
I don't know.
Because of the director. I'd be fine with doing like a whole Hitchcock series. That'd be kind of fun, actually.
That'd be kind of boring for our listeners, though.
Not after Hitchcock fans.
Our listeners are between the ages of like 28 and 36.
That is the majority of our listeners.
So,
but we do have some in the 50-plus range.
We have some senior citizens.
Well, maybe our 20 to 30-somethings haven't seen Hitchcock, and maybe this will get them to watch those movies.
It's true.
And, get them cultured.
Yeah. Who owns the rights to the Hitchcock films? We're helping you out.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm going to give this one a 93.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
It's a good score.
It is. It's a solid A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 87.
All right.
I can't put it over the 90s. I mean,
we wouldn't have Halloween without.
I know. And, so much of my score is the respect that it has and that it's earned. If I just watched this movie just came out today, and I watched it, 70s maybe.
Really?
Yeah,
it wouldn't have the
like the remake. It's exactly the same movie.
It is, but the thing with this, your one negative, if it came out today, wouldn't.
Well, yeah, the twist would be cool, but.
Well, the twist would be just whatever if it came out today for the first time. But I'm talking about like the old-timey sound of it.
Yeah, well, the remake is the same. It just sounds better.
The remake is still like 20 years old, too.
And the remake I'd give a 70-something.
All right. If it came out today without actually sounding like a movie that came out today, would that change your score? Because the 98 one does sound a lot like the original. Right.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
Because I like the story. The story and the acting is really good. Although if it came out today, we'd have a different director completely and a different cast. So who knows how it would go.
Yeah. Yeah, the story is really good.
Don't reboot this, Hollywood, please.
Yeah, this is one of those untouchable.
I mean, it's already been touched.
Yeah, but like completely redone.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think the only way they were able to do that is keeping it exactly
the same. 99.9% of it was exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's the respect that this movie deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to watch it a bunch.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of what I'm going to score based off of.
Okay.
It's how much I'm going to watch it.
I can watch this like once a year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Once a year? Yeah.
Hour and a half movie, like once a year. Yeah. I love this movie.
Like once a month?
Yeah, once a month, like once a week, every day.
All right. So that's it. 93, 87. Very high scores. Okay, go and find us on Facebook. We are at Scare Talk Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You can probably just search Scare Talk and find us on Facebook.
On Twitter, we're at Scare Talk Pod. And we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Joel's Podcast.
I apparently have a podcast. All right. Just put it everywhere that we possibly can to get more viewership, more listeners. Tell your friends and family.
Yep.
Bug them about it until they listen. I know you're all going to see your family for
the holidays.
I don't know when this is coming out.
Maybe not.
Maybe not Thanksgiving.
Maybe not Christmas either.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe not even New Year's.
Maybe not even next year at all. This isn't going to be aired.
No, maybe they can't see their families.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was talking about the podcast because I don't know when this is going to be aired.
Oh, gotcha.
Considering Thanksgiving is like around the corner.
Yeah, no, I was thinking tell your friends, tell your
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Might not see your family.
Yeah, that's that can go two different ways there. So
that can go forever. You might not ever be able to see your family again.
No, yeah.
Well, this has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Alfred Hitchcock